What up? What up? Good to see everybody. I'm still getting settled in. Give me a moment.
We are the unknown unknowns, cell structure standard, objective, unknowable, unthinkable, and underhand, a bit like the anti-masons, but without compass and aprons. We work within the boundaries and metaphors compounded. Nobody knows who planned it, traveling underground, or the alien's identity. Hiding in plain sight, you never saw the entirety of this entity. Imperial, try to trace through the mechanics, finding file marks for serials. You can scream, but I can't hear you, leaving only digital misprints for footprints with the intent, distraction factors, causing incidents and false captures. My grandfather's father found a secret society.
Okay, hold on.
I did
I
a
think
remote.
I
Did a
think we're
remote viewing
I think we were muted.
session.
Hold on one second. I think we were muted. Um, okay. What is your name? We have a caller.
Puri die.
Piri Die. Okay.
Yes.
And you're calling in. What's going on?
I studied remote viewing with a teacher from Stargate. I did a session on the Delphi. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine.
Okay. On the Delphi case, late 2017, and then in 2019. And recently, I did one on my own. And so many of the things that you have said, especially about the water being in the lungs, that is recorded and on tape. Excuse me. And the last time I did remote viewing on my own.
Wait, what is remote viewing?
Remote viewing is you almost go into, well, you do go into a very, very trance-like state. And the first time I did this, I'm from Indiana, but I had a lot of deaths in January and February, and I wasn't aware of this. And they gave us the longitude and latitude. And we ended up in a forest. And you could hear everything under your feet and your ears. And little young girls talking about some guy or something. Just, young teenage talk. But we felt like these girls were meeting someone. They meet this Richard Allen on the way to the bridge, not far from some bench. I mean, they meet him and speak to him because they feel like they recognize him from CBS.
Well, I mean,
and they even comment to themselves.
What do you say to
that was strange.
What do you say to all the people out there that are like, "What are you talking about?"
That's fine. I mean, I've been in this. I'm an old woman. I'm 67. I'm retired. I don't really do this much anymore. I just did this to start out as a teaching aspect for some other students and myself. But I will tell you something, Sleuth. All the remote viewing I have done in the years, never was I more terrified than those two babies. What I felt was hot and cold inside of me. And they said it was like I was going into shock. Then I had to stop. The one in 2019, this man, these girls started running across a creek. And he grabbed the little girl by the coat and then by the hair and started dunking her over and over, trying to drown her. And every time the little girl would come up, she would say, "Run, Abby, run." And then he would dunk her back. And she was
It seems we lost the caller. Caller? Sorry, we lost the caller.
And now I infiltrate secrets using PSI tricks and quantum mechanics. So through the gas in the nucleus, a partial observer performing deconstructive surgery using society's perversions. I wear a fake face under my true face, under my fake face for you. Finding finger holes in the landscape of your psychology simple. I sit in coffee shops with my associates to run about architecture. We left illumination a long time ago in favor for articulated endings. Retraced our steps back to an origin and scar of
Crick?
radio.
Is that how you guys say it in Indiana? Crick?
Life messages to dead drops, cool feints on hard stops, ideas and mobility, engage, interlock, dead shot, straight to the heart of the antimatter surely, invisible university through to the anonymous observatory.
Let's see here. Anna says, I don't like YouTube drama because some of those who create drama are to some extent dangerous. No, if there's anybody out there causing drama, they are dangerous. That's why they're causing drama. Because they know they'll take it there. And that's my problem. Like, you always think like you're the person that's going to take it there. But then when you mess with me, like, you're like, wow, he really took it way over there. So you got to know those things about yourself. But yeah, if you want to call in, 928-476-0112 or hit the link and you can join me here in StreamYard. It's up to you. Hey, what's up, Judy? Yep, and that's what it's really all about, right? Judy says the families don't need to hear that kind of stuff. Yep. Hold on, guys. We got a call. You're hearing audio result shady. Put it on pause. Hold on. Beth Gonzalez.
Press 1 to send a voicemail. Press
Beth, welcome to the Sleuth Intuition channel. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing good, Sleuth. How's everybody? How are you?
I'm doing well. Good to hear from you.
I thought it was a good time when you're talking about YouTube drama. I didn't mean to cause any earlier today.
Oh, you didn't.
About,
you didn't. I think that was just our own personal, like, I think I picked the wrong time to use somebody as an example. And then I think there was some type of lingering, like bad energy.
Well, and I'm bad about not putting my full thought out there when I write. And you know what you were talking about, and I just had this thought in my head, and I just added to what you were saying as to why people were thinking what they were thinking about them being found in water, and that's because of what Ellie first said at the very first sector. But I'm glad we were able to get that cleared up, and I've learned not to even just put that out there, especially with the way I wrote it. So I've got to be more concise.
Well, no, I mean, I think it's better if you own it. Like, don't let me like bully you out of it. Cause, can we talk, if you want to talk freely, we can tell me how you really feel. Cause I mean, we've talked privately since, right?
Yeah, we did. And it was good to clear the air. Cause I did feel a little beat up about it being called out on air. you know, kind of hurt my feelings a little bit. But since we talked it out, it feels better. I feel better. And, I just, watching that presser, I mean, it was, I know, like you explained, Tim Riley also didn't even say the right creek. He first said Sugar Creek,
Yeah.
rather than Deer Creek.
But
So,
let me kind of explain a little bit further more. I've been watching some other
okay.
channels briefly, and you have
Mm-hmm.
locals that um are considered a source, and they've kind of gone on other channels, and then recently they've been talking and they've mentioned oh well, I've talked to such and such, and they're spreading their own rumors about the girls being seen on the edge of the creek. So
Right.
I think I more snapped on you than anything else.
Oh, because that's what I said, on the edge of the water.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
and if you want to own it 100%, we did talk about the chopper footage. We can go that far if you want to.
Yes. Yes. Because I did see some channels putting that out there and them trying to say that that's what they saw.
And you're
That
free to
that's
your
where they were.
opinion. You're free to your opinion.
I
Don't let
I
people
don't,
like me come
right.
bully you and tell you like, "Hey, don't."
No, I don't think they were in the water. I mean, I battled with it at times, but after I've watched more footage of what's happened later on and more detail of the crime scene and where they were found in the woods and how far in the woods they were found, I'm more settled with
Well, do
they
you
weren't found
believe
in the
all
water.
that? Cuz I mean, like you brought up a good point, and I'm glad that this is a discussion that we're having cuz you were right. You said law enforcement said they were found on the edge of the water, and I was like, no, they weren't. But you proved me wrong 100%. And the fact is that they did, but they corrected it, which was what is my point
Right.
is that we're pushing facts. But what are facts? You know, I think this is a great
That's,
discussion. Which part of this is
yeah.
facts, and how much of what we're calling facts is not just what we're talking about now is like miscommunication stuff.
Right. And I think that's the problem for all of us is not really knowing what the facts are.
Yeah, so
Because,
I'm glad you called in because I think it's great the kind of
yeah,
the
thank
points
you.
that you brought up and the misconception that we had because I think you were 100% right. You really were. But at the same time, the point that I was really trying to make was we know what really happened, but do we?
Right. That's it too. That's why, a lot of us waver back and forth and we
Yeah.
do get caught in some of those rabbit holes sometimes. So, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I
Well, I
didn't
appreciate
mean to use you. I didn't mean to use you as an example. What I was really trying to do
that's
was
okay.
I was looking for the opportunity to use the chat as an example, and I think I jumped the
Right.
gun on what you said because truthfully what you said was 100%. Kim Riley did say that. He said, "Hey, we saw them on the edge of the water." And although he corrected it, we don't want to go around pushing that narrative. The truth is
Exactly.
you kind of did believe, right? They were found in the water.
Yeah, but then, like you said, he corrected it, and that's
I
not
mean,
what I
you
was really
personally,
saying.
but you personally, do you think that they possibly were found in the water?
I don't. Mm-mm. No. Do you?
I think it's possible.
You think so?
Yeah, because they told us that Libby's phone was found about 20 feet away from the crime scene. We now know that that was a lie.
Right. It was found underneath her.
Yeah, so I think it's
So wouldn't she have?
possible. So when the only thing is when we're dealing with facts, we're dealing with what we think are facts, and then we have something that we can use to back that up. But the truth is we
True.
really don't know.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
But with them saying it was found underneath her, I would definitely think they were found on the land, not the water.
Well,
Right?
well, what if Abby was found in the water?
Oh, true. I mean, it could be one was on land and one was on water. In water.
Well,
That's
we
true.
know that the girls were just feet apart. We know that they were about
Right.
50 feet from what I understand to be fact, 50 feet from the creek's edge.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I've heard too. And that's not that far when you think about it.
It's not far at all.
Um,
But it's not on the
mm-mm.
edge.
No, it's not. And then I go into all the other things you've heard, though, about the staging of the crime scene and all the weird things that might have been there.
Yeah.
And then I wonder about how would he had time to do all that, put all that stuff there. Did he pre-stage it? Was somebody else there? I know. What
No.
does everybody think about that?
I think it could be panic. So think about it this way. You have a single, and we won't jump to any conclusions. We'll just play it out as what we know. A single attacker, right? Lone wolf.
Mm-hmm.
He most likely would chase them both. Both girls will get caught up on the water. He would assault one girl there, maybe quickly, maybe just as described in the Erskine stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And that could most likely be Abby. And
Right.
then he gives chase to the second victim. That's where he catches her 50 feet from the water line. And he does.
True.
He might do some weird. He probably doesn't do much over there. We know that maybe the upper body was disclosed, but we don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But I think what took him the most time was him maybe spending some time there trying to maybe covering what happened there and him panicking, but most likely coming back to move. I don't think that the moving and the staging really applies to both of the victims. Is what I'm getting at.
Okay.
Maybe
I
it's
understand what you're saying.
Yeah, maybe it's easier to put it that way. He went and moved one, and the other one was kind of staged a little bit.
Right. All right. I understand what you're saying with that.
Okay.
And then I know on one of your lives you were talking about one of the girls' death certificates that you had, and it was pretty reliable information.
And I don't know, who knows, but it seems it's
I
definitely.
didn't want to put that out there.
It looks more. It looks more legit than the ones that were put out previously.
Okay. Yeah, because I've seen some. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then that was just another argument for the water thing. But then, like you said, like if they got attacked in water, that would happen too. So.
Well, it seems more like they would get caught up on the water. So if this guy chased them on the bridge and said, "Hey, get down the hill," okay. So now they get down the hill, but now that they're down there, they have kind of a space where they can run, right?
Right.
So they run, but they're going to hit the water. But they know that the water's there, so it's almost like they're prepared and they know where to cross. But if they're crossing and they hit the bank line on the other side of the creek and it's very steep, that gives this perpetrator an opportunity to make an attack on one of the victims.
Right.
And it's not going to be that extensive. It's just going to be something like maybe 2 strikes, like bang bang. Because if he's carrying this weapon, and we know Richard Allen now is very he has a lot of knives. He could have been fantasizing about the knife stuff, because it doesn't take much with a very sharp knife to do a lot of damage. And I think that's what he did. I think that's what he did with one victim, chased the other, came back, and that's where the moving happened. So staging and that stuff could have been one victim, and then the moving could have been for another.
That's true. I didn't think about it that way.
That's what I'm thinking.
That's
my opinion.
That's good. It's why I enjoy talking this out with different people, because everybody has, different thoughts about what might happen and try to put this together. So.
Yeah, and who knows?
Okay,
we could all be wrong for sure.
I'm sure. Yeah. But I mean, I know there was there's a lot of stuff going around with different things that the family has said and stuff like that, and you just don't know how much of it to know for sure.
Yeah, they're not going to tell the family's for sure. Their law enforcement's going to tell them some, but most importantly,
Hmm.
their opinion is more like a boots on the ground, but they could even be being misled. So yeah, that's a great
That's
point.
true. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Because I know they still thinking there's other actors involved. Do you still think so too?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I do too.
But I think it's the Keegan Klein stuff.
I do too.
And maybe
I sure
somebody
do.
that was there that day with Richard Allen, maybe.
Are you thinking related to the Kleins or one of the Kleins?
I think just somebody that's connected to them. Like Richard Allen is kind of like somebody who went to school in Denver and Peru. Um, the Kleins, they went to school the same time, around the same time. So
Mhm.
it doesn't have to be the Kleins. It could be somebody that maybe was hanging out, and anybody that may have been staying around Kagan Klein.
That's right. With people saying that the car was they saw a purple PT Cruiser,
Yeah,
and
that's interesting.
that's Tony's mom's car, right?
Yeah,
So that kind of makes me think it's one of them. I don't know. Does Kagan even drive?
yeah, he does.
He does drive. Okay.
Probably.
He just doesn't have.
Well, we know he drives because of his. I think there's a Grand Am or something he mentions as driving. Yeah, so he admits to
Okay.
driving. I don't know if often, but yeah, I think it's all going to
Oh,
tie in.
okay.
I think eventually. I think the weirdness from Richard Allen and the weird stuff going on with Keegan Klein and him switching in and out of attorneys. I don't, and the search, the Wabash search, and then shortly after finding Richard Allen, I think that it's all going to come to head very soon.
Yeah, I think you're right too. Yeah, and that talking about what he did about wetting down and eating his legal paperwork.
Yeah, what do you think about that?
For some reason, that just brought me back to that weird dance he did in that bar. The way he was kind of like weird and over the top with it.
That suppressed energy stuff.
That just kind of made me think that he's just that type of personality, that he's just weird and over the top and would do something like that.
Yeah, I saw all this pent up. I saw pent up energy.
Yeah, that's true. It was really strange.
Yeah, very strange. I agree with that.
Well, it was really good talking to you. I'm not going to take up all the time here. Let somebody else have a chance to call in. But really good talking to you, and thanks for your show, man. I really appreciate your outlook and all the chat's outlook on things too.
Well,
So
thanks for being a supporter,
nice
and thanks, and once again, thanks for having the patience to talk about what happened today and calling in and having the guts to do that.
Okay, well, thanks a lot, Liz. Right. I'll talk to y'all later. Everybody have a good evening.
Take care. Bye.
Okay, you too. Bye.
Well, I apologize to all the other callers, but I didn't want to interrupt that because I did call out Beth earlier and we did talk about it and it was a good talk. So Hello, Michelle.
Oh yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, what's up?
Oh hey, I'm just calling in to say hey, it's a whatevs. So I'm a whatev. And
Yeah,
your last
welcome.
caller, thank you. Yeah, Beth was great. I like I like listening to Beth. She was really cool.
Yeah, Beth, and the only reason I called Beth out is because at the moment when I saw her name and I was like, okay, it's Beth. She's a member. If I call her out and she's a member, then it's like a righteous call out, you know what I mean? I'm not trying to like I guess pussyfoot around things or lose a
Yeah,
member. I'm gonna lose a member. No, it's like,
yeah,
no, I called out a member and then
yeah,
I did feel bad.
yeah. That's because you're human.
But I felt
And
bad because most importantly, because I was partially wrong.
yeah, yeah, that's true, true. Yeah, because what she was saying was technically correct, even
Technically.
though yeah, because
Overall,
what's
overall, no, but
no, because even Kim Riley was wrong, right? Who's
yeah,
the one who
very
originally
wrong.
said it?
Yep. And
Yeah,
then that was kind
yeah,
of the point, was like Kim was wrong. So let's
yeah.
not further that, but she wasn't wrong.
No, no, yeah. And while you and Beth were talking, I put in some comments that, you know, a lot, and I think you were saying it at the time, was a lot of the other YouTubers were saying it. And for consumers like myself, like I'm not in behind the scenes or a local or anything like that, or in with a network of other creators. I'm just a consumer. And so it's really confusing for someone like me because you do have all these other channels saying it. And, I mentioned, and you guys mentioned the chopper footage and the channels that have run with that. And like,
Hmm.
all I can rely on is my own eyes and the information I'm being given. And when you look at that chopper footage, I was taken in by it and by those channels because what I see with my own eyes, it looks like a freaking body. And 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 then to be told, well, no, that's not what it is, and the explanation is fair enough, it's clothing apparently.
Well,
um
it kind of looks like a body. It's not like that's a
y-
body. It's like, whoa,
uh,
that looks so weird.
I guess so, and it's blurry and everything, but and then you
Well, it's
watch the
not blurry.
channels.
It just looks like it's kind of waving, and it kind of looks like maybe arms and legs. But
From what
if you really take the time and you want to really find out, hey, is this a body? And you look, it's not hard to determine, hey, this is not a body. This is stuff kind of attached to the trees there.
I don't know, maybe your computer screen has better resolution, or maybe your eyesight is better than mine. But I don't know. But you make a good point because completely as that chopper comes around, you look at it one way and you think, oh yes, that's legs. Sorry to upset people. I know I don't mean to upset any family or close friends to
Well,
talk about
truthfully, you're
stuff.
not upsetting anybody because it's just trash.
Yeah,
So,
right. Okay. So yeah, it looks like the shape of a body oriented one way, and then when the chopper goes around, it completely reorients it, and so you're like, oh yeah, well that's not what I'm seeing. So, but then you hear the narrative from other creators, and it is confusing. So, and then even with law enforcement making mistakes, as Beth referred to, it is very confusing, and yeah. And the other thing I wanted to mention, I'll slow my speech down so my ADHD doesn't take over. Um, the other thing, oh, see, now I've forgotten. So, yeah, I lost it. Go ahead.
did
I
I
was going to say
did,
something.
did I hit you? Did I kind of hit you kind of hard right there?
Who, me?
Yeah, with the chopper
No,
stuff.
no, no, that's good. I'm thick skinned and I can take a disagreement. I can't concentrate on what I'm saying though because of my ADHD and various other things. So if I lose track of my thought, that's why. Um, but yeah, no, hit me with the chopper stuff. I'm like,
Well,
man,
let's
I'm
look at
one
it.
who
Let's
thought
look at it
this.
together.
Oh, please, yes, because you know, I'm not the only one. I know Meow Zedong has a little short, and she's like, you know, that's a freaking body, and you know, she's
And she's
not a
wrong.
kook.
No,
Yeah,
she's
yeah,
kooky
but
with that.
she's not a kooky. She's got a lot of
Mm,
information. She's done a lot of research on flora, and so, you know,
well,
I have a lot of respect.
I had professionals who might disagree.
Oh,
But I've
okay,
had people who have called me a kook, and I consider myself a kook.
right, yeah,
I'm a little
and see,
kooky.
that's what I. And that's what you get for being a consumer of media in the wild west of YouTube, I guess. But I love it, and I'm never going to stop watching YouTube. It's good shit. But
I
yes, please. What do other people in the chat think of that footage? I mean, it's crazy. And where did that? What's that fish guy who got those photos? How did he get those photos? You know how he
Oh,
came
you're
out
talking
with
about
those photos?
the leaked stuff.
Yeah, yeah, the photos, and he was like one of the
Ye
first ones to show those
No,
photos. Was
everybody.
he?
It's kind of like the documentary um backroom conversation that was recorded. Like everybody had it. Who decided to put it out is the better question.
Yeah,
And and
right.
he decided to put them out and he put his name all over them. But the truth is a
Oh,
lot of other people did have those photos.
right. Okay. Yeah.
Oh wait, here's a clip. Are you watching the video?
Yeah.
Okay, here let me pause. I don't know if this is going to show the water or any of that stuff. Let me get rid of this. I'll hide that and share my screen. So I think this is more like where I think they actually show the shoe in the water,
Yeah.
but it could be the same as what Mao was doing. Right there is where I think the shoe, the white object, and then the shirt is right here. Let's see. I might have something to support that. Here we go. This might help.
I say go for it, Mrs. Thang. You only live once. YOLO.
YOLO.
Just
For
joking,
sure.
Mrs. Thang.
I agree with that for sure.
It was pretty cool music that you were playing earlier. Yeah, that picture's really upsetting, but it's very interesting.
Oh, the one where it looks like they're in the water or whatever.
Oh, yeah. I was talking about the highlight you've got on screen, but yes, I was talking about the bit from the chopper. Yeah.
Yeah, to me,
Before,
that's
but
not. If you really, really do look at it, that's not what I see. It's not what I'm
right.
seeing.
Yeah, right. But this one here that you've got overlaid there, that's very sad. Bad picture.
And the way the area kind of looks is kind of weird.
Yeah. The shadows are all curved, like it's like a hill, a curved hill. And then on the left it goes curving the other way. concave, convex. It's weird.
Hold on. I'm gonna put on some tunes. I'll just turn them down. Yeah, but anybody's welcome to call in. Anything else you want to talk about, Michelle? I mean,
Yeah,
I'm not kicking you off or anything, but you can hang out as long as you want.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, if I can remember the other thing I was going to ask about, I really wanted to ask about it, but okay. This makes me sound crazy, but I'm really interested in this whole non-secular item business, right? About this Delphi case. And then when I found out about how the people across the river, the creek, have the stations of the cross in large statue form, and that you can see them. I believe that's them, yeah. Where apparently, if you went to a certain, window or balcony or whatever, you could have seen the crime scene, perhaps, but you could see parts of those statues from the crime scene. Is that actually true? And if that's true, is that what the reference to non-secular items could be? Or do they mean there was literally something on the girls or around the girls? Do you think they could be referring to seeing the statues across the creek?
No.
Maybe the girls were oriented. What do you think that?
Yeah, they weren't referring to those statues. Those statues have been there. It's part of their property. It's part of the expression of the Weber property, I'm assuming, which is Catholic. Is it interesting that it's pointing at the crime scene? Yes. Is it also interesting that Kim Riley points out during the HLN Down the Hill documentary that somebody could go to their balcony and view the crime scene from their balcony? That's the same house that he's referring to.
Yeah. And then when I heard about posing and staging, I wondered, the orientation of the bodies and which way were they facing. Like, when a killer,
like north, was it north? Maybe.
Yeah, or maybe facing which way did they envision the discoverers coming in upon the scene, and did they lay the bodies out deliberately in the most obvious way? Was that coming in up from the creek? Was it coming down from Logan's property? Which way did he orient the bodies so that they would be displayed? Was that a deliberate thing? Because that could be important. Did he want it to be seen from the river and maybe across to the Weber's property? I'd be very interested to know the orientation.
I mean, we know three things come from staging. Were they doing it for ritual? Were they doing it to shock somebody? Or were they doing it to distance themselves from the crime? So yeah, I think that's what I try to say to everybody. Like they go on this Ron Logan trip, but I say, hey, Ron Logan could be involved, on the back end, but so could somebody else that lives near that bridge. I mean, why not?
Yeah.
We hear the FBI. They said, hey, the person who did this knows this area very well. So if you're going to plan a murder, why not? You're going to plan it somewhere that's well known to you, right?
Yeah. And maybe they were sending a message to the Webers. Maybe they were rejecting everything about the Webers, their religion, especially if the rumors turn out to be true that there was some kind of, pagan or Sons of Odin type symbolism.
That reminds me of the Stevenson case.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. Hello? Oh, it's the dogs. I thought it was my wife, but I think it's the dogs. They came up.
Let him in.
Well, no, they're just afraid because they're probably hearing fireworks.
Oh, yeah, it's 4th of July, isn't it? Happy 4th of July, everybody that is.
So they're
Israeli.
upstairs. I can hear them. I was like, "What the heck?" Yeah, now I can hear like. "Rrr." I know who that is. But I didn't mean to interrupt. Continue.
Yeah. Anyway, so I hesitate to talk along those lines because it's quite, you know, like a conspiracy and, you know, like the bloody Da Vinci Code or some wacky. Oh, it's like the freaking seventh sign. You know that old
Well, if
Demi
you're
Moore.
gonna talk about something that's a conspiracy, that's a good way to start.
Yeah, but that's yeah, I do base it on the evidence, you know, and you know, and especially when I hear stories about people like Garrett Kurtz growing up around the area and being, you know, really good friends with Ron Logan
that's
or his
apparently
animals.
that's a fact. Apparently.
Yeah, and so if the Webbers are really, really religious, then they can't possibly have looked favorably on characters like Garrett Kurtz, right? With all his drugs and murder. And
Well, you would have to consider the fact that they even knew him or even cared about him.
no, but they would have worried about him and his ne'er-do-well cronies causing trouble, vandalism, crime on and around their property.
Crossing that bridge, Brad,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, and they may have run him off their property many times. I mean, were they the family that saw a person, a suspicious man?
But I don't think so. I
that they
think
ran
Brad was more of the type of person like around, let's say 2015, 2014, as the kind of person that would be down there doing the same shit.
Right. Who was Brad? The father or the son of the Webbers?
Brad is a younger person. He worked at Subaru. Right. He worked with Julian Powell, the Subaru plant.
Right. You know, but that doesn't put me off my conspiracy theory because that could be a reason to strengthen it.
Well, if anything, it should start 2 more.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But it could mean there's reasons for bad blood there, you know? But,
well, yeah.
I don't know. Then I think of, I'm delving into motive, and the motive is weird. It could just be
that's the biggest question of it all, and I think a lot of people are leaving the motive alone, and I think that is the biggest question. So let's talk about that.
Yeah, and then, you know, the other motive I think of a lot is I can't get out of my head that perhaps the target was Abby. And I think about that because of the things I've heard on creators' channels about the connections between Abby's mum, where she worked, and that was where the drinking occurred with some of the Allen friends and cronies and family.
Well, I can tell you personally that if you go through the Google images of brick and mortar, you will find an image of Anna Williams.
Yeah.
And that's because not only a couple images actually. And that's just from my own personal research. You know what I mean? Nobody told me that. That's just what I know. But if you listen to neighbors and other witnesses, they talk about Richard Allen, and they say he was a regular at the brick and mortar pub. And apparently that's where she worked. So there's a tie, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kinda, I guess.
Absolutely. I absolutely think that. And also, where they lived wasn't that far apart from each other, from what I've heard. Like, it was in a similar area. And I hate
you want to hear a real conspiracy based on facts? This is based on fact. Okay. Now, a mutual friend of Richard Allen and Abby's mother was arrested in 2016 and I think eventually served a year. But during this time, it was like some kind of crazy rager, right? He was arrested for giving alcohol to minors, resisting arrest and like fighting cops. But at the same time, the minors that he was providing this alcohol to were up the street lighting trash cans on fire. This is all
Yeah,
documented. You can go find it yourself. You
uh,
don't need me. I'm giving you everything you need. Mid 2016, actually later, just after mid, closer. We're getting into 2017 where all the chaos happens in Delphi, right? So you have this
yeah.
person who is a mutual friend of Abby's mom and Richard Allen, who is allowing younger people to party at their home.
And was that in Delphi?
In Delphi. They have the street. I have it. I have the street. Um and it's all documented, and it's the same guy who was posting when Abby and Libby went missing. It's the same person who posted the stuff about, "Hey, look, there's a guy behind the tree. Is that the guy on the bridge?" Same person.
Really?
Yes.
That's a fucking asshole thing, isn't it? Like, you think he was making light of it? Or
I don't
what the
know.
fuck do you think
All I
he was
know
trying
is
to do?
that all I know is that he got a minor consumption. That same guy got a minor consumption at this mutual friend's home the day that he got arrested for fighting a cop and throwing a party for minors at his home.
Jesus.
Yeah, and this minor
Shady.
also got arrested for lighting the trash cans on fire. And this is the same minor who was posting that stuff on Facebook. So, I'm not saying any of these people are involved. What I'm saying is this creates a perfect atmosphere
Yeah,
for
yeah, yeah.
somebody like Abby and Libby to sneak away on a weekend and somehow be
Mhm.
involved at this party, right?
Yeah,
Where Richard Allen might be.
yep. Yeah, absolutely.
Michelle, continue. If you want to talk to the group or read the chat, I'm
Oh,
going to
okay.
be right back.
All right, no worries. Okie dokie. I'm going to scroll back a little bit and start going through some chats here. Okay. Olivia too. I heard the non-secular things around the bodies were taken from the cemetery. Okay. Yeah, right. Wow. That could have happened too. You know, that leads me to think of young people. When I was young, back in the day, I lived in a share house full of goths, and those bloody goth kids, they used to run down to the cemetery and steal frickin' headstones and crosses, all sorts of shit, and bring it home and set it up under the house. Bloody idiots. But yeah, they didn't go around murdering teenage girls, but you never know. These wacky freaks, man. So yeah, Olivia. Wow. And CJK, yeah. Okay, cemetery. Yeah, that's disrespectful to the people buried in the cemetery as well. So, yeah, Boston Christian, everything's getting blurred. Yeah, I do feel for the families, and like I was saying, as a consumer of true crime, that's the thing that's hard to reconcile. I feel really guilty because, you know, as a consumer of it, it is heartbreaking for the families, and we do have to remember them. Just trying to see. Yeah, Kami, I would have thought that too. You would think that if Ron Logan was involved, RA would have parked there because they wouldn't have had to back in and hide his number plate. He could have parked it in a bloody shed or under the house or something, and or Ron could have put a tarp over it, and no one would have even seen it at all. So yeah, I agree with you there. The whole search effort would have been different if they'd continued with the search dogs. Judy B. Yeah, that whole search dog thing is weird to me. I don't get it. I don't understand how they didn't find the girls on the first night. I don't understand. Man, I would have been like that mum at the that school shooting where the cops were telling her she can't go in, but she did. She jumped the fence and ran in and got her kids. I would have been like that mum. I would have no disrespect to the parents of Libby and Abby. I'm not saying that at all. Anybody could have done that. I'd Mike, Patty, I would have grabbed the fucking dogs and just gone. You know what I mean? Like, Tobe, what the hell? Why? Why not let the dogs? Why not keep the search going? I don't understand it.
What did I miss? What's going on?
Oh, I'm just talking to the chat. I'm going through old chats. Yeah, Don Spain, I'm a fucking professional, mate. I'm a professional.
Let's see what the chat. They're gonna snitch on you. Let's see. What was Michelle doing?
I was just answering. I was looking at chats, talking.
That's funny. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the dogs are doing good. I just wanted to make sure the wife and the dogs are good. Plus, it's always good to sneak a little kiss, from the wife.
Oh, yeah. That's good. Hello to Sleuth's wife.
And she's hanging out in the room. She's reading. She reads like 1 million books.
Yeah, that's good. Is she into true crime, Sleuth, or is that your bag?
That's my thing.
Yeah.
Like when you guys see me, it's because she's busy.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have a busy household. I like that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, so that's my 2 cents about some Delphi stuff. For me, like if anybody ever is interested in Australian true crime, a little tiny snippet about that poor little boy, William Tyrrell. If any listeners ever are interested in Australian crime, there's that little boy who was in the Spider-Man suit. He was the little foster boy who went missing, disappeared, and they've never found him. They keep blaming his foster mum. They're claiming they're going to put charges on the foster mum, but that's not happening. So it was all like a bit of a false, media beat up with the more sensationalist media. So a bit of false hope there, but they've never found that little boy.
What do you think? Is the foster mom involved, or is that like a...
Look, it's hard to say. It's one of these kind of maybe not so dysfunctional, but a similar vibe to the Summer Wells case in that the family is quite dysfunctional. You've got kids taken away, foster kids, foster grandma.
Well, what do you think? Do you think the Wells, you think they're involved?
I don't think they hurt their little girl. I don't think the dad is involved in any way.
Right.
I
agree with you.
Yeah, I don't think the mum.
I think it's possible, but I don't. I don't see anything.
Yeah. No, but I think the mum's possible negligence or drug abuse may have contributed to it, and she may know more about that. She may not have been truthful about the length of time.
Like she might know something.
Yeah, and I do follow that case, and I watched a body language program, and they analyzed those two, and so they don't believe that they're lying about having hurt Summer. But yeah, Candace's behavior is odd, so that's what I think. But more and more is coming out about the people that live nearby, and a guy, I think his name was Fred Hill, and how he's alleging another dude around the local hood was there, and they allege her body was buried behind a waterfall, and some recent stuff. So I'm very interested in that at the moment. So
well, did you ever hear about the story of Dylan Redwine?
The name's familiar, but I cannot recall, so don't know. The baby dingo, yeah, high school in Australia. And the dingo baby thing happened. That's a tragedy. Sorry, we could talk about the dingo later, but yes, go on, Sleuth.
Well, it was from Colorado. Mark Redwine, he was convicted of killing his son.
All right, okay. No, I don't remember.
Yeah, but for a long time, like they couldn't find this poor kid, and the mom was like, "Well, I dropped him off with his dad, and his dad's kind of crazy." And the dad would
Right.
come out and do interviews with the media and everything, and like was just very open about things. Was like, "I don't know what
Yeah.
happened. I don't know what happened to my son, this and that." But it turns out he actually killed him and drove, I
Wow.
think it was like 7 miles out and dumped his body. And eventually, animals kind of scattered him out a little bit, but they
It's
found
terrible.
parts of him, and they were able to determine that it was him that did it.
Wow. That's shocking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hate that. I hate it. And I mean, I hate parents that kill their fucking kids. I mean, the only ones I have any sympathy for is the parents that have had a psychosis right at the time. Like that, they lose their mind. The ones
So
who
you get back
genuinely have
at
it.
11:30.
Check this out. I think they actually went on Dr. Phil or some shit. Here, hold on. I should be able to pull that up pretty easy. The hell?
So you get back at 11:30 and he's gone.
Oh, here it is.
Um,
All right. Let me close this and pull this over here. Okay, so this is Mark Redwine before he's convicted. Before they found out he killed his son brutally. Yeah, we'll probably get hit for this, but oh well. I think that's okay here on the Whatevs. What do you think?
Yeah.
Whatevs.
so you get back at 11:30 and he's gone.
Right.
That's
And so
Mark
you just
Redwine.
lay down and take a nap.
Well, no.
Right.
When I got back at 11:30, I didn't think much of Dylan not being there. I mean, he knows the area. He's been up to my house many times. There's a campground
Many
at the end of the
times. I
road,
just want to
right by the
fucking
river where you
smash
can
this
go
guy's
up to.
fucking
Every now
face.
and then, there's a bridge right
How
down
old's the kid?
over the river, which he's been
I
known to
think
hang
he's
out
like 10, maybe.
before. There's a
Fuck.
rock wall that's right directly behind my house that he's been known to go stomping around in the woods back there. I mean, I didn't find it so odd that he wasn't sitting there waiting for me.
In November? Mid-November?
And you sent him
This is the
without a
killer.
coat?
He killed him.
Why is it always my fault? Why can't you take any of the responsibility?
Wow.
At 1:30 you wake up, he's still not there.
Oh, look at that. He hates. Oh,
Something
what an
go
asshole.
off in your head. Then?
Absolutely. I'm calling him on his cell phone. I'm sending him text messages. I'm trying to communicate to him. At some
Crocodile
point,
tears.
I start realizing, this is not like Dylan.
You're his father.
Look, this
How
is the
could you do
killer
this to
right
him?
here. They're sitting with the
Yeah.
cold-blooded killer.
Elaine, I don't know where Dylan is.
He doesn't want to go to
I have
jail.
anything to do with this.
I know that's a lie. I know you had something to do with
Really?
this. Yes. Yes. Where's the last? You were the last one. to say it,
Wow.
Okay.
I don't believe that that's true.
Holy
What
shit.
did you believe? I
Ha-
don't have Dylan.
yeah.
I wish I had Dylan because if
Holy
I had Dylan, we
shit.
wouldn't be on the
How
hunt.
cold-blooded is that?
Yeah, that's horrible. Like, oh man. Oh, fuck. That's awful.
Yeah. And
I
he
couldn't stop myself.
well, and the reason that he ended up killing his son was I guess they caught him like doing some weird stuff, like eating his own poop and like doing some weird stuff, like dressing like a girl and yeah, like a bunch of
What?
weird stuff.
Pretending to be crazy or getting his rocks off?
Yeah, they kind of caught him being crazy, like the BTK or doing like what was that one killer? It might even have been in Australia where he's like wearing like bikinis and stuff. Like it might have been somewhere else. I can't remember. But yeah, he got caught doing some stuff like that. He had he had a something to do with poop. Like he liked to eat poop.
Right.
Yeah. So they were going to expose him kind of.
Wow. Eat shit and die, I say, motherfucker. What a loser. freezer.
Yeah,
Oh
the
my
worst of the worst, and they caught him, and
god.
they got him. But that
Yeah.
poor Dylan was his name, Dylan Redwine.
Oh, the poor kid. That's 10
Yeah,
years old.
and he had balls though. He had huge balls. Like he didn't go for nothing. Mike, thank you so much. Dylan, like he was going to expose him, and he's the reason why he got caught. If is if he wouldn't have told his older brother and people around him what his plans were, they would have never really kind of caught on to what his why his dad would have had a motive to hurt him. But he like explained to everybody like, hey, this is what happened, this is what I seen, like, I'm going to tell my dad I really don't want to talk to him anymore, stuff like that. And then and that's why he got killed. So he
Oh,
could
yeah,
he
that's the part I remember. Yeah,
Yep, exactly.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh god, yeah. Smart kids, they, yeah.
Karen
Oh
Brown,
man.
yes, the trucker guy. Yep. Looks like we got a call. Hey Don, what's up?
What's going on the phone?
How you doing?
Okay. Hey, what's up, Lou? How are you doing,
Just hang
brother?
Doing well. How are you?
Oh, hell, drinking some wine, getting drunk on. Oh, hell, I got to echo what I need to do.
You don't have an echo for us though. So whatever you're doing, don't do it too much. You might have two things open. You might have YouTube open and then
Yeah,
the
I do.
StreamYard. Okay.
Oh, hang on. Let's see.
I want to
How's
give you
that?
like I
Is
said,
that better?
you've been good on our end. You sound great.
Hey, thanks for noticing how great I sound.
You do. Are you a singer?
I was impressed with Michelle because you put her on the spot and you went to the bathroom and she like just took over, man. She
Yeah,
needs her
she
own
better not
channel.
have been pushing her propaganda.
Yeah.
No, no, hell, she's a natural, man.
We only push sleuth propaganda around here.
Yeah.
Damn right.
Yeah, I know to keep it on sleuth intuition too. That's where it belongs. That's where I go.
But you
Thanks.
know, she brought up something earlier on BW. I'll just use initials. I always wondered if when he took them down the hill, if BW was waiting down there and that's his private drive. His mother's gone; she's a snowbird. What if they were going to put him in the car and go right up the private drive right to the house? He even admitted he was there at 3 o'clock. What do you think about that?
I think it's possible. Is there
You
anything
mean,
that backs that up? No.
No, there isn't. No, but I think it's kind of weird.
When you think about the motive, I think just as much about Ron Logan or BW as I do RL,
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, me too.
which isn't much, but I do think about it.
Yeah, I mean
yeah.
I don't know. There just seems to be something we're missing here.
Yeah. You know, I used to be suspicious of Pat Brown with the whole truck and keys and all this story until
Yep.
the documents came out, or no, not the documents, the recordings of the pre-production meeting, Hannah Shakespeare document, and they described his PTSD and his reaction, and that was really
I found that
really.
suspicious.
You do? Okay,
Oh, I
okay.
did
All
Hell
too.
right.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Extremely suspicious. Men don't
Right,
Now
act,
I
I think
see.
men don't act like that.
I was telling
Right.
somebody in the chat what makes this case so intriguing is there's just so many people around this area that just did weird things at that time.
Uh-huh.
You can just keep going and going. It's just bizarre. Ron Logan
Yeah.
lined up alibis, Pat Brown parking there all night, and all the stories about him. Garrett Kurtz. I mean, what's the odds of
Well, finding the body
two?
too.
serious
Wasn't he like?
killers knowing the
Didn't he
same
find him?
property in this rural place, you know? Sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead.
No, I'm just kind of piggybacking off what you're saying. I just wanted to throw that in there. Didn't Pat Brown kind of find him too?
Right.
Mm, mm,
Supposedly, yeah.
yeah.
And then this Mark
After
Redwine, take that for an instant you brought up. And you can take this for what it's worth, but Anthony Greeno actually found where he was delivering stuff at the Packers plant in 2013 on that same day. You know,
Well, that
so he was a
that could be
suspect for a while.
that could be a lie.
It could
Because
be, yeah.
I piggybacked off of what he said, and I used him as a source. Some people kind of ate me up before it,
Yeah.
but we learn and we move on. But
yeah,
Right.
what Greeno said was is that he called Redwine's sister to verify where he was that day and why he was there that day, and apparently he was with her on the 14th because he had a delivery in Delphi on the 13th.
Right. So you think that was fake, or what did you find out on it?
What is there to find out?
You know, I don't know. I mean, some
I
of
mean,
those guys will look.
it's
They'll
a
look
bold
at the Packers and get.
it's a
Yeah.
bold-faced lie.
You think so? Okay, right on. Wouldn't
Yeah,
surprise me.
it's a
Yeah.
bold-faced lie.
I hear you.
interesting. Yeah, well, okay. Well, now that you guys have both told me that you find it suspicious that PB was acting like that, now my head's all turned around again, because before that I was like, what the hell? Why aren't people screaming this from the rooftops? What the hell was he doing there? Did he
Oh, we
find his
screamed from
kids
the
when
rooftops
it
back
wasn't
in the
his kids?
day. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. You're right, but
And
we did
then
scream from the
and he
rooftops.
finds them.
Well, my
Oh,
opinion is this: he kind of lives there, right?
yeah.
Mhm.
He's watching all these people. They're walking around. They're going over here. They're going over there. They're doing this. They're doing that. And then in his mind, he's like, "Well, I would do this, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
Well, I'm gonna go
right.
do it."
When
Yeah.
he's searching, yeah.
So
But
we're gonna beat the man to death because he was actually the smart one to start using his brain.
no, we're not going to beat him to death. We're just going to
Oh,
have a look from an observational point of view and ask a few pertinent questions, I reckon. And one of the pertinent questions I have is, um, when was his vehicle parked at the cemetery? Was that before the girls were reported as lost, or was it after? Did he go there
well,
and park it because they were
well, from
lost,
my
or was it?
understanding, it was that evening when he was involved in the search that night. He even went to Ron Logan's and asked to look on his property. So I'm thinking it's
Okay,
that evening, but it was there all
right.
night. Okay.
Okay, so that's a hell of a lot less
I don't know if it
suspicious.
was there all night. I do know
Yeah.
that it was the first vehicle. If you look at the chopper footage,
Uh-huh.
it looks like it's the first vehicle to show up at the cemetery.
Right. And if he lives so close, if he drove there to search, why do you reckon he drove to search if he just lived right there?
Well,
He was there to help.
when you say live right there, though, that's been kind of debunked because he lived about a mile and a half or 2 miles. So you're talking about a guy.
He's right there. He's not that far.
Yeah, but it's
He's
literally
neighbors,
two
but it's
miles.
not close. Yeah, it's not like something that's super close. But the truth is he definitely knows that area.
Yeah.
Do that.
And
Yeah.
if he's watching people search and they're not being successful, he
Hmm.
probably knows why, and he's gonna just trust his instincts. I could
Yeah.
see myself if somebody's
Yeah.
digging around my backyard and they're not
Yeah.
really going where I think they should be going. Well, I'm gonna go there
Yeah.
myself and I'm gonna find something.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
kind
Yeah.
of
Oh, I
like
Right.
get that.
what he did.
Well, you
Yeah.
can
Or in quotations, or you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. And you
Yeah.
know what? That's, as a neurodivergent thinker myself, I can see how someone might be. Like, just say he's a different kind of thinker, a different person, he doesn't want to go with the crowd. Totally, I can see someone doing that. And you know what? those types of people often get looked at askance and get
You
blamed
want to
for
make
things.
you want to
So
make a great Hollywood movie? It's a
yeah,
killer. It's a killer who commits the murder and then runs up to the crime scene first and puts his DNA all over everything.
Right. Yeah. Supposedly he
yeah.
hugged. He like checked them to see if they were still breathing. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but we've
No,
all
that's
heard
fake.
that, right?
That's false.
Yeah, I believe it's false, but we all heard that. And then he had a
Say
nervous
it.
breakdown and all this. I heard all that too. I don't know if it's true or not. Yeah.
Well, we heard the
What did he?
PTSD. Yeah, PTSD
Yeah.
from it. That's ridiculous. Why would you have PTSD from it? Men don't act that way. If you go to
Right.
war, men that go to war, yeah, or police officers who see traumatic stuff and firefighters, yeah, they got PTSD, but you're not going to
Well,
get
Well,
what's his
everybody has
background?
PTSD nowadays, Sleuth. I don't care
Well,
what it
yeah,
is.
a grown man's
I
not
knew
going
all
to
them
get
old guys from World
PTSD
War II, man. They didn't
from.
have that. Well, they had it, but they didn't act like
Well, yeah, they had it, but they
it.
were
Hmm.
men and they did their best to hide it, which I don't know. That could
Yeah,
be bad in itself, Uh,
true.
but we evolve, But the truth is that grown men are not going to get PTSD from seeing a crime scene like that. Something that their instinct should kick in. You know what I mean? At this point, it
Yeah.
should be like I'm going to observe and I'm going to help in every opportunity. I'm not going to let it affect me. You know what I mean?
Oh, I do know what you mean. Yeah.
But what's his background? Like, is there any reason why that might affect him more than others? Does he
Well,
have
better
any?
question is why is this guy in the audio tapes talking all this shit? Remember, he's the source. Doesn't make it true.
Yeah.
Who is that guy? Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
Caleb or some shit. It's like Caleb something.
You
He's
know,
friends.
and I asked Mr. Steve because he's been digging into Evansdale, and I said, "Is it true that Pat Brown actually worked up there in Waterloo, Iowa, which is probably like 11 miles from Evansdale?"
Yeah, that's a pretty
And
good
he said he
rumor.
would get back to me on that, but I never did hear. But I've heard that rumor. Have you guys heard that too? They
I've
was
heard that
working up there
rumor.
contracting or something.
Yeah, I've heard the rumor. I did my best. I pulled up the information. I didn't find anything
Yeah.
significant.
You know,
But that
it
doesn't mean
doesn't
it's not
matter. I
true.
think, yeah, I think RA's the killer, man. I think he's the dude. I really do. But
Okay.
whether or not there's anybody else involved, I don't know.
Well, let me ask you this. Okay. If we can all agree that Richard Allen's a killer, can we start talking about the why,
Yeah,
please? Why would he
yeah,
do it? Why would he do that?
yeah.
And that leads to
That's the
others,
million
right?
dollar question, ain't it?
In my opinion, the why leads to other people.
Yes.
Yeah, how so, Sleuth? Lay it out, buddy.
Yeah.
Well, think about it. The guy's killing in broad daylight, shows
Yeah.
up at the same time that the girls left their home.
Uh-huh.
Anthony Schott says that he's meeting them there. They didn't show up. Richard Allen is the guy that actually is the guy who appears to be meeting them. They ask not to go to the Freedom Bridge, not to go to the trails, but to go to the High Bridge. Where's the first place that Richard Allen beelines to?
Right.
The
Yeah.
bridge.
The High Bridge.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what your guys' opinions, but in my mind, somehow he knew they were going to be there. That's what you're saying, basically, and that's why he beeline there. He knew they were going to be there,
And he knew
whether
that they would
through
be
key
alone.
incline or whatever. He somehow had heads up. You know, that's my opinion.
So did you guys see, was it Fig Souls' post today where he was saying that he's thinking more and more that perhaps Libby may have invited Anthony Shots out there? I think that's what the point
Yeah.
of his little
I mean, that's
short-
his theory. I mean,
Yeah,
I
like
don't
a hostility.
subscribe. I don't subscribe to that theory, but yeah, she could have maybe just thrown out a post like, "Hey,
Yeah.
such and such
Yeah.
people. If we're gonna be
So
out
that-
here and we're gonna be on the south end of the bridge, if anybody wants to join us." But I don't
Right.
think that's
Yeah.
what happened. I
That's
disagree
what I
with
got
that.
from that. That he
Yeah.
that Libby post casted that out to everybody she was talking to.
Is that possible?
Basically.
Yeah, I don't agree
Yeah.
with
It's
it. No.
possible. But that got me
No.
thinking about motive, right? As we're trying to talk about now. That got me thinking about
Sure.
motive. And I remember, Sleuth, you've talked about it as the junior detective. Others have talked about it as exposing them, figuring out that they were catfishing young girls and that they were going to expose them. And so, you know how she was ready to take video of Bridge Guy coming across, and they were saying, is that him, the creepy guy? So maybe that got me thinking, maybe they were already half primed to keep a lookout for a creepy guy and ready to film him, because they had catfished the catfishers, junior detectives,
Well,
and had asked him to come
Yeah.
out there. Hey, Anthony Shots, come out and meet us. We're pretty young girls. Abby would love to meet you. And yet they were going to take a photo of him, but the guys knew that on the Anthony Shots because word spreads, yada yada, and that's why he was dispatched to go out there.
well,
See,
Holman
so then
Amen.
Holman
That's
kind
a
of makes
motive.
it
good
seem
theory is
that
in him. Yeah.
well, Holman kind of
Yeah.
makes it seem that way because
hmm
what he tells if you look at the interview between Holman and Hannah Shakespeare, he says there's a point during that video where one of the victims has a moment of realization,
Mm, right.
and
Yeah.
he didn't want that to be shared with the public. So to
Right.
me,
Yeah.
that's the "you're not Anthony Shots" moment.
Yeah. Yeah. So that would lead you to think they didn't know that they were being catfished.
No, I think that was the moment they realized it.
Yeah.
And that
Right.
not only did they realize it, that they had 100% underestimated that situation.
Oh hell yeah! If that's what happened, fuck, hell yeah!
And
They
there may
really
have
didn't do it.
even been a moment of violence between
Mhm.
Richard Allen and one of the girls at that very moment. So there wasn't just a
Yeah,
gun; it was a grab and maybe a hitting with it.
because is it true that a shoe was lost under the bridge at that point, or is that not true?
I think when they say under the bridge, I think that's the leaked images that we've seen. I think they're considering that being under the bridge. Like the creek,
Oh,
even all the way as far up there,
wow,
it's
wow.
technically under the bridge, right?
Well, okay. I
Yeah.
wouldn't say that, but anyway, I ain't Delphi law enforcement, am I? They think quite neurodiversely.
Yeah, and that's the confusing part, and that's what me and Beth were trying to like point out was it's hard enough to know what a fact is, right?
Right.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
other thing you were showing earlier, we were talking about that Gavin Fish guy and the evidence in the creek. The pictures, the crime scene pictures of the clothes and the shoe upside down, in the creek. Well, if you look at the chopper video footage, you can see that same scene. I think that's real. You can see it there. You can see it, all this stuff caught in some little brush in the middle of the water. And
Yeah, I
you
was trying to
actually
show
just
it.
had it up on your thing,
Hmm.
Sleuth, where you could see it from the chopper footage.
Here's a good example of what you're saying.
Yeah.
Let me share it.
Yeah. Right there. That's it. Yeah.
And if you read the probable cause affidavit, they say the clothes were found just south of where the girls were found. And
Right.
hmm
if you find this on the chopper video, it is exactly south of where they were found.
hmm
Hmm. Sure looks like it to me. I don't know. That's just my opinion. But
Pretty close.
yeah. But anyway, I want to wish everybody a happy 4th of July. And I'm drinking some wine and hanging out with my best girl. And God bless y'all.
Nice.
I'm going to get off here. All right, buddy.
Thank you, Don. Have
Good,
a great
All right,
one.
brother.
good to speak to you, Don. Good to
Cheers to
speak to
you
you.
and your friend.
All right. Thanks. Bye.
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 Your best girl now.
Better kick them before they say something. Getting all frisky.
Oh man, I hope I don't ever hear that. I don't come to YouTube with that shit.
All right. Well, we got another 15 minutes, Michelle. Where you want to go with this?
Well, I don't want to let down the person who was asking or mentioning about um, a dingo ate my baby.
Oh my god. Oh, like if that's an urban legend or not?
No. It's fucking true, mate. They eat everybody. But she was saying, I think I can't find her thing, but I was
Savage.
doing my best Australian accent there. Couldn't you tell? A dingo ate my baby. That's
Yeah.
the Meryl
Because you're
Streep
not even from
Australian
Australia. You're from like Detroit, right?
accent. Yeah, Detroit Rock City.
Yeah. Good accent.
Yeah,
Rock on.
yeah,
Rock on.
yeah. I forget. I'm sorry to the commenter who was talking about it before. Um, she was saying, I think, that she was in high school when it happened. And yes, Lindy Chamberlain was the mum of Azaria Chamberlain. And she did get taken by a dingo while camping at Uluru. Uluru is the correct name of what used to be called Ayers Rock by colonialists. Its correct name is Uluru. It's a big giant rock in the
Crip
middle of
name?
Australia. Huh?
It's Crip name?
Correct name. Yeah.
Ah,
It's indigenous name, the traditional owners of it, original owners, Aboriginal people who own the land. Uluru is the name of it. But back in the day, it was called Ayers Rock, and there was a camping ground, and the baby was taken from the tent. But everyone blamed the mum, Lindy Chamberlain. They belonged to, I think they were Seventh day Adventists, and so a lot of people thought that was wacky and weird. And she got actually
oh,
put in jail for it.
like religious persecution.
Yeah. Uh, just that it was seen as weird, and she didn't react like people thought a grieving mother should act. You
But is that
know,
where the whole
in
dingo ate my baby? That's where that comes
yeah,
from?
yeah, yeah, because she supposedly came running out of the tent, screaming for help, saying, "Help! Help! A dingo ate my baby!"
And they were like, "Nope,
'Cause
nope, you killed your baby."
well, eventually, yeah. That
Oh,
because
wow.
she was odd, and her name was Azaria, and there was all these theories that Azaria meant freaking devil child. I don't know, weird shit, really weird shit. Very similar to Summerwell's, Delphi, anything on the internet now, but it was pretty much pre-internet. Um,
What's Richard saying? He's saying here, I'm still wondering about RH. Do you mean RA? What's up, Richard? Sorry to interrupt you.
Go ahead. Tell me to shut up. I'll
Yeah.
keep talking.
Yeah. Yeah. Jeez.
Yeah, Kiwi Bridget, you're right. If they had the technology, because she was exonerated and the baby was taken, and they found the clothing, and since then, many people, kids especially, have been bitten and taken and attacked by dingoes,
Like
and
proven?
yeah, they have it on footage. Kids have
Yike.
been killed. They're savage little assholes.
So did she go to prison?
Yep, yep, for a long time.
Wow.
She
So
got
a dingo,
exonerated.
so a dingo actually did eat her baby.
Yeah, yeah, it fucking did.
That's
Yeah,
so
it
crazy.
was awful. Yeah,
That is a
it's
crazy
awful.
story.
hmm And
That's a
Mrs.
good one.
Thang, I can tell you intergenerational magpie attack stories. Intergenerational. That came after my father and his brothers and sisters, and then they came for me and my brothers and sisters. They've drawn blood. They have hunted us down. They have intergenerational memories of kids that they remember. I'm not kidding.
Sounds like
Magpies.
crows.
Yeah, yeah. I know of a kid who had to hide under his bicycle crossing the school oval because a crow was attacking him. I've been attacked by a cockatoo repetitively when I was hitchhiking to work, and it just wouldn't stop.
Yeah,
Birds, man.
I've heard of crows like holding grudges.
Yeah, birds are really smart. Anyway, I can leave you to go back to your evening and let you continue with your show because I'll wrap it on for ages. I'm really out of it. So
No,
I'm
we're gonna
gonna go.
close it out. So great, yeah, great call. Thank you, Michelle.
All right.
We had
Huh?
a lot of great calls. Thank you so much.
All right. I better go. Um, thanks for having me on. Good to speak to your guests, and thank you for letting me take over your chat for a minute.
Yeah,
I'll see you
stop
later.
don't indoctrinate my members,
Well,
my
why
subscribers
not? Why can't I?
with your
They might like
Michelleism.
it. Maybe they'll start getting an Australian accent.
Maybe they'll start getting some things right for once. Maybe
Yeah, I'll teach them some Australian slang.
you're not, but it's fake. It's a fake accent.
Isn't all of Australia fake according to flat earthers? Like we don't
Yeah.
exist or some shit? Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
it's from a Hollywood studio.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Maybe I'm just what chatbot Aussie A1 or something. I don't know.
Oh,
I don't know.
you're AI now?
Yeah. Yeah.
That would be
Programmed.
brilliant. That'd be brilliant.
Yeah.
You
That
got
would be
me.
good.
You
Yeah.
got me, computer.
Yeah. Yeah. Miss Persevere, you can have some of it. You can have some of it. People
Hey,
always tell
Miss
me I sound
Persevere.
English.
Oh,
Yeah.
Judy B with the super sticker. Wow. Thank you.
Mm. All right, I'm going to go. See ya. Thanks, Sleuth. Thanks, chat. Bye.
Karen Brown says, bye, Michelle.
Oh, bye, Karen Brown. Have a good one.
Later, Michelle.
Catch you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Wow. You know what? It's always the surprise live streams that end up being like the most fun. Thank you, Judy. So we got Mike holding it down. The big O, I guess that's a super sticker. Thank you. And Judy B. Thank you, guys. We'll start closing it out. Let's see. What's a good little beat? We can put this one. Guys with an eye patch and 4 fingers sell the best fireworks. Woohoo!